And so then I was like, Sonic Frontiers, more like Sonic Front Smears, am I right?
Oh man, totally. That joke you just set up, I knew where it was going, and it was a banger, boy.
I'm cutting that
Welcome
out.
everybody to the show. It's me, your host, the most talkative Hedgehog, Classic Sonic, here with my cohort, Modern Sonic. Would you like to introduce yourself, my boy?
Hi.
What's up, Modern Sonic? What are we here to do today on my channel?
What a shit show.
Hey, Prime hasn't even come out yet. You can't say that.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Fuck editing. This is all staying in. Hello, everyone. How you doing today? I am here with my co-host for the first episode of our new podcast, Sonic Comic Chaos. Now, Ian, would you like to explain to the audience what this is?
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is just going through the reboot era of the Sonic comics. For all the times that the Silver Race likes to, be like, oh, Archie Sonic is so cool. IDW sucks. He never actually read Reboot, so he's a fake fan. And this way is the only way that he can retroactively make his videos good, by allowing us to know for certain if Archie Sonic is actually good in any way, shape, or form, besides Preboot. So what we're doing is we're going through the reboot era of the Archie Sonic comics after it got rebooted, obviously. And we're just going through it because Silver Ace hasn't read through it before. I have. And so I kind of get to act as sort of like his soundboard for his first reactions to it. And also, I mean, it's mostly just because, one, it's fun to have more content on your channel. And two, it's not like, I like, from what I can tell, you've kind of abandoned IDW. So, this fills the Sonic comic niche of your channel.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, Ian, you kept approaching me and going like, hey, man, we should do a discussion about, like, the comics you've missed. And I went, Ian, how would I stay awake through that? So,
that's true.
Is Sonic even... I mean, you know what? Off the rails right away. Is Sonic even still in those comics? I feel like every time I see, like, pages from them on Twitter, it's like Belle and Amy going camping or whatever.
Yeah, the current arc that just wrapped up was the girls going camping, and Sonic is at home playing video games, so he literally does nothing the whole arc. And then the next arc is apparently about the Chaotix, and I don't know if Sonic's going to be in that one either.
So they just take my idea that I said in our discussion like a year ago of like just make Sonic not the main character?
Yeah, but instead of doing that in like Sonic Universe or whatever, they just took him out of the main comic.
You know what? No complaints here. I mean, I'm still probably not going to read it, but like,
oh yeah, because it's dreadfully boring. So.
Oh great. Also, audience, Ian accidentally dropped his microphone in chocolate milk, and then it rolled into a fire, and then it got hit by lightning, and then it melted. So that's why.
And then,
So Ian's a ghost now, so that's why his audio sounds a little not great.
Yeah. I like that way better than where you were going with it, which is just the mic broke. I like it better that it killed me, and that's why my voice sounds bad. The mic was a completely separate issue. That's just what. It's the same mic, but I'm a ghost now, so there's a bad connection.
Yeah, definitely. So
right, good.
It will probably, maybe, I don't know, be fixed by next episode. If not, you can send all your hate mail to @IanWaffles on Twitter.com.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
No, the Sonic fans, I mean, let's go, baby. Like, what do you got to throw at me? You going to throw me some funny IDW panels? They don't exist.
Speaking of which, after this is done recording, we need to talk about what you said about No Way Home on Twitter, you monster. But anyway.
Indeed.
So I feel like we should just get right into this. I feel like we should maybe have some context because the first issue of this new continuity is literally called At All Costs Part 2. So what happened in At All Costs Part 1? Well, I did reread that. And essentially what happens is Sonic and friends chase Eggman and Mecha Sally, because Sally's currently a robot. Look, audience, I'm not going to explain everything. Please read the book yourself. But they chase Eggman up to the Arctic. Silver shows up. He's like, look, I know who the traitor is this time. I promise it's Sally. There's some conflict. I wrote as one of my notes, in the last issue of the original continuity, Sonic and his friends fight orcas.
Yes. The Orca guy is super deadly and super cool. Now he's dead forever, so that's good.
Yeah, and then you got that. They're making their way through the base. They're fighting. Tails Doll's doing some stuff in Numa Metropolis.
Yeah.
Sally and them are fighting. Tails Doll turns into a monster that has a very questionable looking stomach.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just look at that thing. Or if you're under the age of 18, don't look at that thing. But regardless, and then the Genesis wave strikes because Dr. Eggman hits a literal cosmic reset button.
Yeah, because he wants to go hang out with Dr. Wily, which is not a joke.
That's not a joke. Which leads us into Worlds Collide, which we are not going to talk about today. Maybe we'll go back and talk about it later. But for now, I did not reread all of Archie Sonic 251. I did skim the ending. And I have 2 notes. And Ian, I sent you these 2 notes on Twitter. My 2 notes were from the end of the Supersonic fight. Because basically at the end of it, Sonic gets hit by the whatever machine that that Eggman and Wily made.
Yeah.
How this affects him in his super form, I don't know, and the writers clearly didn't care. But he's basically like, hey, Mega Man, you go. Get out of here. I got this. And he could not less have this if he tried. But so my first note was, bad idea telling him to go home, I guess. And then and then my next note, which I took during the page, we all know the page, the Sonic goes, oh, well, I guess it's this or nothing. And he throws the thing, and then Eggman fires the thing. He goes, oh, no, Eggman, what did you do? Yeah. I just wrote, God fucking damn it.
Why did it perturb you so much?
Just because, it's so... I get it, and at least there's some excuse. At least he doesn't just go, oh, no, it's different now. At least they tried to have, oh, no, Eggman's flying. But it's just, it sucks. It sucks when you know the reasoning behind it. It's so it's like, I assume all of us Spider-Man fans know, when Mephisto shows up at Peter Parker's door, he's like, hey, if you sell your marriage to me, I can totally bring Aunt May back to life. It's like, you can't even really look at it as a story point anymore. You can only look at it as a business decision. Right.
I think for me, my problem comes more from it's kind of hard to even tell that Eggman does anything just because the paneling's kind of cramped. To me, I think to me, meta stuff like that never bothers me, especially in Sonic especially in the Sonic comic where it was built off meta. There'd literally be issues where it'd be like, whoa, it's Dulcie the Dragon from the TV show you should be watching right now. Also, literally pull out your Genesis controller and plug it into the comic and play the special stages. It would do that. So to me, all this meta nonsense of I know why this happened, XYZ, that's not what bothered me. It's just more that the framing of it doesn't feel like, oh man, Eggman really messed up big time when you see it happen. I would guess that's just because of page space and you want to get all your juicy fan service for your fan service crossover. And then it's all right, now we got to transition it back. But I do wish it could have been focused on a bit more or made it its own spread or page or something where you actually see Eggman destroy it. Whereas it's just kind of cramped in a tiny panel. And then Sonic's just like, no, and then it's over.
Yeah, and also I have this open right now. I have the issue up on my screen, and the off panel is literally Jet and Big going man, this was weird. What? But so then that finally leads us into the reboot, the first arc, Archie Sonic number 252. At All Costs, Part 2. And so the first note I have, and you're going to notice a theme with these notes, and that's me being incredibly bitter and butthurt. It's from this first page where you see the bit from Genesis where he writes hi Sal on the window, and the bit from Eggman Empire where he's fighting the Egg Beater, and then him talking to a wisp, which never happened. I mean, technically in a backup it happened in the original continuity, but that's questionably canon.
Well, the point of it is to show that the game canon is also canon now because the new reality is kind of merging, and this new reality is mostly gamified versions of the story, but with Sally and them there as well.
Well, but the problem is that all the other characters, when they touch Nicole, they have a very similar effect around them, and it only shows them the old continuity.
Yeah, because they weren't in any of the video games, actually.
Oh, well, you know what? I guess that's fair. But so I just wrote, remember all this cool stuff? You do? Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and we actually saw the last, because they do a tangential kind of like try to bridge the gap where it's like all the characters being like, I have these two memories, and there's this old timeline, and after the issues we've read, that'll never get brought up again. We're done. So
Wait, what?
yeah,
This
so
issue ends on. Wait, but this. Yes, all right, go on.
When Sonic is like, when Tails is like, I'm kind of having a hard time remembering their memories, Sonic. What are we gonna do about that? And he's like, don't worry, buddy, I'll totally remember. And then he's like, heh, heh, heh. That's it. That's the last time we ever mention it. So the assumption is that the next day they wake up and the memories have fully transferred over. It's the new reality.
Wait, but this arc literally ends with them being like, the world's fucked up because we changed reality. Like, they just wait. So how could they not mention it again?
Yeah, I think only Eggman might mention it, but that's about it. Otherwise, I think in their head, it's just like, oh no, the world is ending because something happened with Sonic doing something with space-time. So they probably Sonic probably remembers the Mega Man crossover because there's another Mega Man crossover and he remembers him there. So the Mega Man crossover probably happened, and that's what he remembers is just, oh yeah, there was like a Mega Man crossover or something. And time space got messed up. But he probably doesn't remember also there was a reality that got messed up. So yeah, it's never going to get mentioned again, sorry to say. So, goodbye, Preboot forever.
Okay, so my next note is from the next page when he goes, I hope the kid got back to his own world. I just wrote non-copyright infringing kid in quotation marks. It's like,
which is funny because in Preboot, Eggman is able to say Albert in the main story, which is pretty cool. But they're just like, nah. They're just like, nah, the kid.
I mean, to be fair, like Mega Man is literally on the cover of issue 247. Is like, hey, this is coming up next. So I feel like that's fair. But in this, like, anytime they're like, hey, worlds collide is when this happened. They don't even say like Sonic and Mega Man worlds collide. They literally say just worlds collide.
Yeah, probably to keep synergy with like whoever would be reading this at the time, but you might as well just embrace it.
Well, one thing I find interesting is that they say here, Worlds Collide crossover, all 12 parts available now in the Sonic Comics app, which I assume is not a thing anymore. No. But does that mean the Mega Man issues were also on the Sonic Comics app?
I would say that like any issues that were like crossovers would count, because like when you used to go to the Sonic Comic app, you could buy any of the issues where like Sonic hangs out with Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and it would be labeled like Sabrina the Teenage Witch issue 42. So like I think it just counts in the Sonic canon as like if you were to buy it.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then it would probably be like, go to the Archie app if you want to read more Mega Man, stuff like that.
That makes sense. And so then Sonic arrives in this whole new world. Tails doll is still wrecking. Is it still New Mobotropolis, or is it just Mobotropolis now?
I think it's just Mobotropolis, because Knothole doesn't get destroyed in this timeline, I don't think.
Oh, we'll get to Knothole. Don't you worry, and we'll get to Knothole. But and I just wrote, well, at least his chest looks better. And so then Sonic and Tails charge into battle, and we see Naugus is there, and this is what's confusing. So Naugus is here. What happened? Like, I know, like, and Grant, it's been a long time since I've read those last couple issues of like Preboot Archie, and so I know him and Nicole were doing some stuff prior to the Justice Wave. But this
kind of
like what's happening? Like, so okay, so the exact thing is like, she says, first of all, she calls him Wally. Do you know what that means? Why?
Well, because in this timeline, Naugus is the brother to this witch from Sonic Sky Patrol, which is like this, they're called the Witch Carters or whatever. And so he's like the brother of her. And so I think Wally might be a reference to one of the enemies from that game, which was maybe like one of the goblins as well. Because like in this story, he's like a bit different. Like he's a sorcerer, but he has a sister, and he's kind of like a goblin man, I think. So yeah. He doesn't have the backstory from Preboot where he's like three wizards smushed into one after they flew into the sun because they were having a contest. Uh, so yeah, that's been changed, and now he's Wally.
Oh yeah, I guess I realized here in his little box it just says Naugus. It doesn't say Ixis Naugus. So
Yeah, he's not Ixis Naugus anymore.
that's,
Yeah, he's called Walter Naugus.
Walter. His name is Walter Naugus.
I like it. I like that we've taken him from Scary Monster to Walter, my man.
To fucking suburban dad.
Yeah. Let me see if I can figure out where this is from. The original name is Naugus. Applied Naugus cartoon. Okay. Whatever.
It doesn't matter. So he's like, hey, I took over the kingdom somehow. It doesn't matter how. Don't ask how. And Nicole, you need to make me a ring to get my power back. And so he grabs Nicole, and somehow they don't explain. Do they ever explain why Nicole was like this magnet for extra dimensional energy?
No, it's just the plot device for it, which is fine by me. Like I'm fine with like just like magic nonsense when you have to like accept that, you know, like with Eggman, he also just has magic nonsense, but it's science, which his magic nonsense is just he can build whatever the plot demands. So if like we're gonna use like time travel, alternate reality warping nonsense, and it's like, all right, well, we need to give a framing device. They gotta like get the MacGuffin that is Nicole and like touch her, but not in like a weird way because she's a computer. And then they gotta get their memories back, and they're like, whoa, Nicole, that was great. Do it again, but not really because they're all traumatized. So you know.
But like
yeah,
I mean I get that because like the whole thing of like we have to fix Nicole makes more sense than like because practically there's no reason for them to get these memories back. Like there's like in the plot they are never referenced again, at least from what you're telling me. So like at least I don't know.
And this was an idea on the editor's part because Flynn said that he just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and just have the characters come into this new reality, and you just had to kind of like figure it out. And it's just like, yeah, it's new reality. Don't worry about the old one. Like we're in. But the editor was kind of like, we should probably have like some sort of transition for older fans so that they can kind of get an idea what's going on. So this was kind of just added in at the last second, I think, to like be like, okay, well, they can get their memories back by, you know, reconnecting and touching, you know, getting Nicole and blah, blah, blah. But then, you know, as soon as that little plot line's done, we just kind of dump it. So
yeah, but like my problem is that then who is this for? Because it's not because in doing that you make it less of a good jumping on point for new fans, but you're still pissing off old fans because all you're doing is going, hey, you know these things, they don't matter anymore. Like,
yeah, I think it was ill-conceived as far as like being like, oh, we'll give it to the old fans. It's like, no, I think it probably would have just been better if you just ignored it and just been like, all right, new reality. Sorry, like lawsuit happened. Gotta go.
Yeah. So, well, and that's the thing, right? Is that it's like you could by having Sonic still like kind of remember, you can have him be like our guide through this new reality of like, oh, what's this wacky thing that wasn't in the old universe? Oh, well, it's this. But having everyone remember, it's really messy. But so
well, my biggest problem with it is that what you could have done with it, right, is that what we as the fans wanted originally is for the gang to get back together. We don't want Antoine in a coma. We don't want Bunny to be gone. We don't want Sally to be a robot. We don't want, you know, Rotor to be crippled. So what do we want to see in this new reality where everyone's been given a second slate? Well, hey, let's have them like be like, whoa, like we like we're okay now. Like maybe this is for the better. But every time it happens, with the exception of like Bunny and Sally, it just gets like a panel reaction of people being like, it's okay, bro. Don't worry about it, bro. And then they're just like, all right, we got to go do other stuff now. And you don't get to like sit with it and like enjoy the fact that your characters are happy. Like, I don't know if you caught it, but that's the last time you're ever going to see Sonic cry in this comic, which is when there's like 2 tears streaming from his eye as he runs and hugs Sally. And then she's like, whoa there, Tiger. And then that's like it. That's the last time they're ever going to be like friendly in that regard. And there's like, yep, you're okay now, Sally. Heck yeah, bro.
Well,
all right.
And we'll get there when we get to Sally, but like that's a whole other thing. But so Nagus grabs Nicole, and that's another problem I have. Is if as soon as we showed up, Nicole was like acting weird, it would be one thing. She's completely fine. Nagus grabs her off the thing, and then that's when she starts to glitch out. I don't know. But so Nagus remembers all his old memories. And he's like, "What's this?" And then so he runs away. And like, what I love is like this is their half-assed way of going like, "Hey, we gave you resolution for the Nagus King plotline." He gets scared and he runs away.
I like that in this timeline, he just like locked the king in his closet, and that's how he took over. It's like, all right, bye.
Yeah, political intrigue and actually like swaying the opinions of the people. Nah, man. But also,
yeah, and it's like, yeah, go ahead.
Are we ignoring the fact that like the king he usurped was completely different in the previous timeline? Like,
well, yeah, because he's not legally allowed.
But then why are you okay? But then don't have them have their memories, because then
I know it's the half measure that makes it not work.
That like that's the thing is that's like I have like a number of notes that are just like, hey Sonic, shouldn't you be like questioning where like Mina or your parents or Tails' parents are? No.
Where's my best friend Scourge? What happened to that guy?
Why is my dog a person now?
Yeah, they do like one little joke out of that, but yeah, it's like no.
But so
and I ultimately think that like on the one hand, I appreciate the thought of like, let's try to do some sort of resolution. But the problem is you're trying to get to one, you have to get all these characters and there's a lot of them. And so you don't give enough time for like everybody to kind of have their moment to reflect. And there's a lot of dialogue in like these 4 issues. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
But it felt like there was just a lot of talking and a lot of, which it makes sense. Like you kind of have to reestablish so much, but at the end of the day, that just makes it to where this kind of emotional core you could have had just falls completely flat, and I don't feel anything. Like the most I got out of it was like a slight smile of being like, yeah, that's neat.
I mean, there were definitely a couple like chuckles I got out of this, but it was mostly just like sighing. But so Nagus runs away. They're fighting the Tails doll, and Nicole lands on the front lawn. I do like Nicole's little like fun, excuse me, little like fun computer language where it's like Tails, but it's got like a 7 and an @ sign.
Yeah, that was fun.
Tails picks up Nicole and is traumatized by seeing the previous world. And one thing I think is interesting is that like I'll give Flynn credit for this. A lesser writer would have had them be like, "Oh man, old memories. That's weird." But like he does play on the fact like how horrifying it would be to have like essentially another person's entire life's worth of memories just like shoved into your brain.
Well, especially since your old life is very traumatizing.
Well, there's that too. I mean, the images we see of Tails are like there's one just like kind of generic shot of like Sonic being like, but then there's him with this bird guy. I know this is a character. I just forgot about him. Him fighting Mecha Sally, and then the fight him and Sonic have from House of Cards.
Yeah, I appreciate that all their memories are like their most traumatic and terrible life moments.
Well, I love when we get to Amy's, it's just her kicking the shit out of Knack.
Yeah, she doesn't have much, which is funny. She's not as traumatized. Well, at the very least, she's traumatized in the same ways that everybody else are. So there's no unique trauma. There's no unique trauma like dying.
Yeah,
well, like Antoine.
Well, what would I find? We'll get to Antoine. But so, Sonic shows up, gets Tails out of the way. I don't remember what this note was in reference to, but I just wrote, "What is the point of this?"
Oh.
I don't know what that was in reference to, because like the next scene is Eggman in Africa, Africa, which is pretty necessary. And then so we see Eggman in there. And then we cut back, and then they beat Tails doll, so it doesn't matter. And we see an interesting shot of Sally's dad in the old continuity, with the old school Robotnik with the red eyes, and then the new continuity where he looks like, classic Robotnik from the Genesis games. And first of all, Sally's dad looks weird. I don't know what it is. He's too smooth.
Well, it's because they're all Toontown characters now.
Yeah, he's too smooth. Like everything about, like, you just look at the two characters next to each other, and it's just like he looks wrong. Yeah,
Well,
no,
Sally and no, not Nicole, Sally and Bunny both have this where like they used to have like cheek fuzz or whatever, and they used to like make them look cute. And now they just have like round, boring ball heads.
you know
So
what it looks like. You know the episode of SpongeBob where he becomes normal.
exactly,
That's
that's
what
what they
they
all look
did.
like.
That's what they did to the king. I actually don't. We'll get to it. I don't mind Bunny's new design and Sally's is whatever, but yeah. So we go in and they're like, "Oh, we need to restore the memories of the freedom fighters, to make sure that they can fix Nicole or whatever." And we see Sally's dad, and Sonic thinks to himself, "Oh, well, Sally's dad is like not in a wheelchair or whatever, and he's not a jerk anymore. So maybe this world is better." And then I just wrote, uh, Sonic not seeing his own dad, however, does not bring him to the opposite conclusion.
Yeah, yeah, we have to ignore quite a few things to make this work.
Yeah, and so we see Sally on the egg. Uh, Ian, help me, death egg.
Yeah, the death egg.
I was like, oh, that's the problem. I was trying to put egg first. And then it ends, and my last note. Well, what was my last note before I went back and read the off panel? I just wrote, "This sucks."
What made it so bad?
It's so. Again, you said how like the meta stuff doesn't really bother you, but for me, all I can see is just the corporate, just like, man, just like putting their little fingers in there and just going like, "Oh man," and it's just like, again, you're trying to reference the old universe, but you're not referencing the fact that like this town is empty when they get here because everyone is erased. Like, Sally's mom isn't there, her brother wasn't there before anyway, but like, all these characters are just gone, and it's just. And again, obviously, I get from the logical perspective, you can't mention them, but then don't do the thing with the old memories, or do the thing with the old memories, but better. I don't know. Like, it's.
Yeah, I get you.
And so we get to the off panel, which, Ian, you said you liked this one.
Yeah, I thought that one was funny just because I was like, "Yep, we sure are screwed."
I wrote, "This off panel is actually offensive." Because
I was gonna say, I would assume that's why you don't like it, is because it's like, "Yep, goodbye, good stories." No,
well, that's back. The thing. Is like they're essentially trying to go, man. Doesn't that old book suck? Isn't it so much better now because everyone's happy? Aren't good stories made when everyone is just happy? Like, and
yeah,
now,
I think it was mostly just supposed to, like, that could be the energy it comes off, obviously. But I think what they were probably trying to go for is basically just like, maybe Sonic wouldn't want to go back to that world considering how terrible things were for him.
Well, and that's
yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, that's a repeated theme throughout this that I've continuously noticed, is that the book is that Ian is essentially not you, Ian, but like the other Ian is essentially grabbing you by the shoulders and going, "No, I swear, this universe is better. Like this one more. This universe is so much better than that old one." It's like, no.
Well, you don't have a choice, so.
I mean, I don't have a choice, but like, don't pee on me and tell me it's raining honey. Like, how about that? Like,
fair.
But so that's the off panel. We move on. I mean, I guess overall thoughts on that issue. I gave mine. It's taking your sorry.
No, you're good. I think generally this little section where we're going to all the characters, I just kind of thought it was pretty just whatever. Like, I think I have some screenshots just for any jokes I like. The big thing that I liked throughout this whole little section was Eggman. I thought he was pretty much a delight the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I especially like, bring that up one more time and I'll haul you out and make you into matching soup and salad bowls when he's talking to Orbot. But there's just like a lot of good stuff with Eggman. I like him just like attacking a gunship, like just out of nowhere and just doing it really quickly. And he brought like a little jetpack so he doesn't have to climb a plane. That's all it was there for. It wasn't even so he could like fly around. It was just so he could jump.
We're not there yet, though.
I know, but that's basically like all the good stuff I have.
Oh, well, okay. But yeah, that's my thing. It's like this first issue, is it the worst thing ever? No, but it's taking your medicine. You know, it's like, look, we got this new universe. There's nothing you can do about it, and we just got to get through this opening bit before we can get into like what I hope will be more like fun, cool stuff with like the actual world. But for now,
it's a lot of exposition and getting everybody caught up.
Yeah, you gotta eat your vegetables first, you know, and this is the vegetables. Like, and so we move on to Archie Sonic issue 253. The epic journey starts here. Countdown to Chaos, part 1.
Yes.
So we go and Sonic and Tails are running through the Mystic Ruins. I think I just wrote a really long note out of frustration. This note I wrote was so Nicole was doing fine until Naugus touched her, and now she's broken, and now we need to have her touch everyone to put them through the existential horror of seeing a completely different version of their lives. ... I guess.
Yeah, that's mostly the like in this issue in particular, it kind of follows the pattern of like, what's up, character we remember? You're doing much better here. I like that a lot better than what we were doing.
Yeah. And so Sonic and Tails are running through the Mystic Ruins. They're talking to Nicole. We see Eggman, and I just wrote the note, Eggman's fun.
Eggman is fun. He's very charming for how evil he is.
And one addition that already off the bat I really like is these they're not the Egg Legion. What are they called? Egg Army.
The Egg Army.
Yeah. I like these guys. They're cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. One of them's from Pre-Boot, which is the snake guy. And then there's another person from Pre-Boot, which is there's like a Lynx lady that we'll meet later.
I remember the Lynx.
Yeah, but everybody else is new.
Okay, that explains.
The snake guy came in at like the final arc of Sonic Universe. So if you just forgot about it, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that I don't know if I ever read. What is that called? Scrambled, right?
No, this is the one with the Chaotix when they go to Mighty and Ray.
Oh yeah, I did read that, but that was forever ago. But yeah, so that explains why you mentioned Hood so casually. But so yeah, I like these guys. They're cool. We meet up with Big, and I wrote that they missed a huge opportunity to give Big the device and have it just be like 4 different images of him fishing. I know Big did more than that in Pre-Boot. He was a part of the Team Freedom was the one that stayed in New Mopotropolis, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I know he did more than that, but that just would have been a fun joke.
Oh yeah.
And then
that would have been funny. Yeah, that would have been funny if it was just like it's his images and he just doesn't react and he's like maybe he says like Great Scott.
But so what? Well, but you know they couldn't do that because we established the plot device of Nicole only having enough charge for so many people, which they do nothing with. But so,
although I the one thing I would have loved is if because they say like, oh, could we do Uncle Chuck? And it's like, well, he wasn't necessarily around it and XYZ, and we don't want to hurt people who might have even more problems. And it's like I would love if he was just like, it's like Big is already not doing okay, Sonic. We can't mess him up anymore. All he does is talk to a frog.
Look at his eyes. He's clearly seen some shit. We can't.
we can't do that to Big. Like we don't even know what horrors he probably faced in the old world. We barely talked to
him. Okay, so we get to they're looking over the Mystic Ruins. They're like, oh, the final egg, all this, and then Tails talks about like, you know, what's the final egg? And Sonic's like, the final egg. He's like, oh, I guess that happened in this new world. And my copy of Sonic Archives is literally 2 feet away. I could look through it. I don't care enough to. So Ian, was the final egg thing not a part of the original Archie's adaptation of Sonic Adventure?
No, they didn't. They didn't go to the final egg. So no, none of that happened.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're like because the Archie Sonic Adventure story, like it's very like they show exactly what happened throughout the whole adventure, and that does not happen. So.
Yeah. It was a bit of a departure from what I remember.
Oh yeah.
But which I mean it would have to be
the cat people and Knuckles. Yeah, you get the great scene where we learn that Knuckles is named after colonizers from the Echidna colony.
Yep. Well, yeah,
the natives.
I can only imagine the Archie writers back then being like, wait, you're having the games make a massive plot point about the fact that all the Echidnas are dead and what they did in their past, but
Uh-oh.
We've kind of already done that. Oh no. But so anyway, we see Rotor. He's fighting. He doesn't have his cool like nanite suit anymore, which is unfortunate. But he doesn't seem to need it because he's a big
He can
tough man.
punch you. He can punch you on his own.
And so they're fighting. Silver Sonic shows up, and I gotta say, Silver Sonic's design looks awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I just wrote, Big catches Silver Sonic and yeets him into the air. What?
Because Big is super strong.
I mean, he is, but like, what? I don't know. I'm not complaining. It's a funny moment. But like, you know, they're like, oh, Rotor's cool. And again, I have a relatively long note of going, we're showing Rotor's back being better to try and convince Sonic and the audience that the world is better, ignoring the countless people erased by the Genesis Wave.
once again, forgetting his mother and father.
Oh, and I missed a note where it was the quote from before when you were talking about Tails going like, what if our new histories overtake the old ones? And I wrote, ... and if you're not going to try and fix the world, your old memories are practically worthless and only serve as a reminder of the fact that Sonic, through his incompetence, essentially murdered dozens of your friends and family.
Oh yeah, well, not only that, because they mentioned that the multiverse collapsed on itself, which means that like all alternate realities, everyone's dead.
Oh.
So.
Oh, well, I guess we needed to explain how to get Scourge out of here too. So yeah.
Yeah, so everyone's dead. Poor Sailor Sally's dead, which is unfortunate.
No.
Yeah.
Tuxedo Nux. No.
Yeah, Tuxedo Nux is super dead, unfortunately.
Real quick, how did they not name him Nuxedo Mask? What a mixed opportunity. But,
indeed. And also, Sonic's Godzilla dad is also dead, but Sonic already killed him in pre-boot.
Yeah, Sonic already killed him.
So that's okay.
The Sonic who's also Batman is dead. We could be doing this all day. We need to stop. But so, and then Sky. I just write Sky Patrol is a fun idea. I like the name. Because obviously it's a reference to Tails Sky Patrol.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really clever. I mean, the design is also super clever because it's the little thing at the start of all the Sonic games, the little ring with the wings.
Yeah,
that they stick their heads out. So I was like, oh, that's a really neat design.
Yeah, I enjoy it. But so then they do the thing where it's like, hey man, are you sure you're ready? We're gonna show you this thing. Yeah, you should sit down. You take the and he doesn't sit down, which I feel like if someone tells you, hey, you should sit down, although I guess granted. Whenever someone tells you, hey, you should sit down, I feel like your immediate reaction is to tense up and be like, wait, why do I need to sit down? So I suppose it's fair. Regardless, he doesn't sit down. He sees his old memories of him getting like crippled. And I like that we see a fun one-off issue where he gives Tails a submarine. Because I've actually read that one. That's fun.
The fan service worked on me this time, Mr. Flynn.
Yeah. I actually wrote, it's admittedly cool seeing these older Archie Sonic moments, especially the obscure ones, but it seems like it will ultimately amount to very little.
Indeed.
And then I just wrote, Rotor is the only person having an appropriate reaction to this.
Oh yeah.
Because he is like destroyed. Like he's just freaking out, which again
is like
is fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. He's like, how do you freaks handle this, dummies? I'm gonna go work on stuff. No, do like a Rubik's Cube. Calm myself down.
Rotor could actually do a Rubik's Cube. I can't. But so we see essentially. Oh, are these meant to? These are meant to look like save files. I only now realized the mission statuses. Because
good catch.
But so we see that where then we see Eggman is at his base, and I like this thing he does where. To cover for the fact that he doesn't know anything, he just essentially just bullies his underlings. He's like, I mean, this one here is pop quiz. What's the nearest base and egg boss? Like,
yeah, no, Eggman's great, and I really love that. There's like a part where they're like, G-boss, are you having trouble, coming through all the memories? He's like, heck no, I'm a super genius. This is easy.
Yeah, but so, and then we see that the world is coming apart, which, I gotta say, what? So, are we implying that this is responsible for Dark Gaia? Because they don't explain it by the end of this arc. They just go like, oh man, we fucked up the world. Oh no. Like,
Yeah, basically, instead of the giant laser from Sonic Unleashed doing it, it's from the Mega Man crossover that causes the premature awakening of Dark Gaia.
I see that. Okay, so it wasn't so much because I will say that's one thing I appreciated was that obviously in Genesis they said like the planet literally fights against being changed. So I'm glad they brought it back in this. At least that was a fun reference. But okay, that makes sense. So it wasn't.
I think it's a good context to do the Sonic Universe or not Sonic Universe, Sonic Unleashed story because the whole point is that he wants to reestablish a new world because we lost all our world building. So you get a good excuse to go to every part of the world by doing the Sonic Unleashed story, and the Sonic Unleashed story was a world-ending threat that seems reasonable for what Eggman did. So it doesn't just feel like, oh, sure, some memories got erased, but otherwise, I mean, the world's doing okay. Whatever, new story. It's like, no, there were consequences from it, which I appreciate. That's a clever way to use it.
Yeah, I agree. And I missed a couple notes. I wrote, very convenient that Knuckles isn't on the list of people needing their memories back to fix Nicole.
Poor guy.
Because that would have
close enough. He wasn't friends enough with us.
well, I mean, it's probably for the best, right? I mean, I imagine they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Nux, here, take this and get your memories back," and he'd just be crying in the corner for the rest of the day.
He gets nothing good out of having his memories. Everybody else gets to realize that they dodged a bullet really hard and aren't miserable anymore. Knuckles just has to realize that he's going to be miserable forever.
And so, and then I also wrote, Sonic's reaction to how his friends are doing is admittedly adorable. However, maybe ask how Elias is doing, or Julie Sue, or Mina, or anyone.
What's Mammoth Mogul up to? What's my boy? What's he doing? Did Eggman delete his casino too? That jerk. Heartless monster.
I was about to betray my lack of casino knowledge because I was about to say I have $300 in there, but that's not how casinos work.
Yeah, you gotta have rings.
I'm thinking of stocks. But anyway.
Yeah, indeed.
And then you have a horribly funny off panel, and then the issue ends. Not much more to say, so we will move on to issue 254. Enter a new world adventure. Sonic the Hedgehog. Countdown to Chaos. Part 2.
This is the one with Antoine, right?
Yep.
Okay. This is where they go through a generic looking forest and they're like, wow, Knothole sure is rad, bro.
It's fucking okay, so but before that we get something cool, which is Eggman being shot down by Gun. Which is just it's fun. Yeah. Not much more to say there. He falls into a thing that looks like his face, because everything looks like his face. Yeah, he talks to Hood, and then there's not much. He goes, we're gonna be making the thing into a thing to fight through Gun. It doesn't matter. So then we cut to Sonic and Tails, and he goes, Sonic goes, yeah. Well, so they're walking through Knothole, quote unquote, which is just it's a forest. It's a forest. It's got a little bridge. At some point, there's nothing here. Like it's what am I looking at? Get a pointy flower. It's stupid. But so anyway, Sonic goes, yeah, it's close enough. If Knothole can get a second chance, maybe we can too. And I just wrote in my notes, we can get a second chance. Shame for all those people I murdered, though.
But at least Mutsky can talk now, so it's okay.
Which is arguably worse. Like, can you imagine if Mutsky got Nicole and he's like, oh god, I had to eat dog food for all those years. Like, what?
You guys enslaved me.
More or less. But so we see Uncle Chuck, and I just wrote, ask Ian what happened to Uncle Chuck in the old continuity. Because, like, was this in a Sonic Universe arc? Because in the main book, nothing happens to Uncle Chuck in the old continuity.
I'm guessing they're referring to when he was roboticized, because they mentioned, like, and because whenever they give a reason as to why Uncle Chuck can't, like, do it, they're like, Uncle Chuck's been through enough, like, whenever he was roboticized for, like, most of his life or whatever, or, for 15 years or however long it was. So we probably shouldn't do that. So I think that's what they're referring to, because that threw me off, too. I was like, nothing bad happened to Uncle Chuck. But I was like, I guess they mean when he got roboticized, because in this timeline, I don't think that happens. So
wait, Uncle Chuck hasn't been a robot for years. Why would that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. That's why it confused me too. I was like, what are they talking about?
Like, why is Sonic crying when he sees him? If that's the.
Yeah, I know. He was fine.
But so okay.
Yeah,
And
that one weirded me out too. I was like, huh?
and I wrote in response to the uncle to many thing. I just wrote, "Oh fuck off."
Oh yeah,
if
because
I'm
he can't be their actual uncle.
yeah, because of course, right? Because we can't have nice things. And then he goes, Sonic goes, "Oh, Uncle Chuck's not a robot, or no, Sally's not a robot. Not Hole's fine. Uncle Chuck's still around. Again, Uncle Chuck was already around, but whatever." So he goes, "Maybe this whole new reality thing isn't so bad." And I just wrote, "Yes, Sonic, this whole new reality thing is very bad." um, and then Antoine and Mutsuki roll up. They're both very happy to see Antoine. It's cute. And I just wrote again. I wrote, "For the love of God, don't give Nicole to Mutsuki."
Don't do that to the poor guy. That's like the second worst to Knuckles.
Yeah, I would say Knuckles is still worse. And then so Sonic goes, "Hey, let's give Uncle Chuck the thing." And then in my notes I wrote, "No, Sonic, we can't restore Chuck's memories. Why? Reasons."
Indeed.
Which is that's really it. But so and then Sonic's like, "Fine, but we'll do it after we've restored everyone else." And then so we restore Antoine's memories, and I wrote, Antoine is somehow remembering being in a coma. Not just being put into a coma, but literally laying comatose in a hospital bed.
Look, man, he had a near-death experience. He was floating above his bed. He was like, dang, my wife really is hot. But up from up here. But also, I'm not doing so well, so I can't appreciate it.
Oh. That's way better than my explanation of it just being an artistic representation. I like yours more. But so I will say I don't hate this new version of Antoine. Like he's cool.
I like him.
Yeah. We see him do a spin dash later, which is like, all right.
Yeah.
And then I just wrote, oh, okay. I wrote something, but we learned about this later. I just wrote, are they still married or not? Which we find out later that they are. So,
yeah.
And then I just write SA2 reference, nice, in reference to, Eggman blasting through all these things. And then he goes, now you know why I am the best. And also just this panel of Eggman running. I don't know why I just find that funny.
It's really funny, especially when he has the jetpack.
It is. And then they're talking to Antoine, who is just horribly traumatized, as I assume anyone who just had a memory of being put in a coma in their head would be. And then we learn some more stuff from Nicole. But again, this is very talky. Like, I'm looking through it, just like large dialogue boxes. But so,
yeah.
Basically, Nicole's like, I can only restore a couple more people because, I only have so much energy from the Genesis wave, which, I mean, I guess is as good an explanation as any. The ground splits open. They're falling through. Sonic goes to get Chuck's thingy, which had some gas in it. I wrote, Antoine can spin dash. Why not? And then, so the thing breaks open, and we see Sonic inhale some of it. And I wrote, seriously, this is where the Werehog comes from?
Magic bad gas.
I mean, why not? Like, I don't know. I guess my problem isn't that, like, it's dumb, because it's always dumb. It's dumb and unleashed. But, like, I was expecting a little more pomp and circumstance. That's just, like...
Yeah, there's a lot less fanfare to it.
But yeah, we see Sonic starting to freak out a little bit when he inhales it, but he's like, okay, no, I'm good. I'm not freaking out. Real quick, is Mutsuki supposed to be a child or just like a small person?
I'd say he's probably like a childish. Like he's probably around like Tails' age.
I wasn't sure what voice to read him with when I was reading this. I was like, I guess I'll pitch you up a little bit. I don't know, but so then we
just give him Dipper's voice.
No, I kid you not. I actually did that for Mega Man. I was like, what does Mega Man sound like? He doesn't talk in any of his games. Like, but so, and then Antoine gives them a nice little message for Bunny, and they fly off, and we see Bunny is infiltrated Eggman's base. And I gotta say, this design for Bunny looks really cool.
With the whole suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I don't really like her mechanical body parts anymore because they're just more streamlined and less like they used to have like all this detail and look really cool. but now it's just kind of like streamlined, and I'm like, eh.
I actually really liked Bunny's new design. I don't know. I just something about it. It clicked with me. But
Yeah, it's fair.
so we see what's the oh god, the off panel is, oh no, another memory flash from our old world. I left the iron on.
But
What? What? That's not anything. Like,
well, that's like the most obvious joke or whatever. Where it's like, oh no, my refrigerator, it's running or whatever.
my refrigerator's running. I'd have more respect if they did that joke. But anyway.
The best version of that joke is the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends one, where it's actually an imaginary friend and it's running away from home.
Moving on. 255.
You're almost through.
All new action. True Blue Adventure. Sonic the Hedgehog. Countdown to Chaos. Part 3. And I think my first note for this might be, this art is not great.
No, I didn't like that looking at the issue at all.
His head's too small, and like it's just the proportions really are what do it in. I mean, it's got some cool, like this scene where him and Tails are skydiving. Even then, Tails is like got this weird everything. But so well, my next note is just, okay, so they were still married. Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was saying they meet up, they go in, they fight their way through. They meet up with Bunny. Bunny betrays the Eggman Empire, and we see her new design. And I just wrote, I like her new design. All right, it could be worse. But so we see, and I think I wrote something to the effect of like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, I remember by the end of this, I was like, what were they doing here again? What was the plot?
Right.
One thing I wrote in all caps, because at one point Bunny goes, this is primarily for R&D stuff. They felt the need to put R&D stands for research and development in a like little thing. And I wrote, I know what R&D means.
Yeah, but you're not a stupid child. So
that's true.
Shut up.
I'm not exactly the target demographic for this. So,
I mean, to be fair, the target demographic is very, very different for this because it's like appealing to old fans, new fans, children.
Also,
so it's all messed up.
What children read comics anymore? Like,
I don't know. I guess it's like, to be fair, it's like whenever I find out that like, oh yeah, kids like My Hero Academia. It's not just me. Uh-oh.
Yeah. I feel like that is something like when you grow up though that you're more comfortable with. Like, I remember definitely being younger and be like, no, man, Sonic isn't for kids. Sonic's like for all ages or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but like when you get older, you're more accepting of like, no, this thing is for kids, but I still like it. Like,
yeah.
But so, and then they're talking, and they're like, we shouldn't give her memories back and horribly traumatize her until after we fought our way out of here.
Yeah. And she's like, you're acting like I'm not standing right here. It's like, oh no.
Oh my lord. I just realized they have like reindeer pulling a mechanical sled. That is adorable.
Oh yeah. Eggman sections continue to be very fun.
They have little red noses. That's great. I love that. But I wrote in my notes, I just like this walrus guy. I like his design. I don't know, he looks cool.
Yeah.
Tundra the walrus.
Yep.
And so we what accent is, I think he's German here. Does Cubot's accent change? I was not paying enough attention to know.
Whose accent?
Cubot's, because here he's doing a German thing.
Well, Cubot's joke is that his thing is broken, so it changes every time you read it.
No,
sometimes he'll be like a cowboy.
I think you're mistaken there, because the thing about jokes is that they're funny.
Well, the thing about this joke is that it's supposed to be an audible one where you can hear it, and that didn't happen, so it kind of screwed itself.
I mean, I don't know. I wonder if that was a thing from On High where they were like, Flynn, Cubot's thing is that his voice chip like messes up, and that will never not be his thing. Like, even though
you're right.
It stops becoming his thing in like the next game though. But whatever. So they break in. They're They're fighting, fight, more fighting, and then it was here. It was when they're fighting when I wrote the note. It's at this point I realized I don't actually know what Sonic is trying to accomplish. But so
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know why what is this thing they're trying to get? Why are they fighting? Like,
Oh yeah,
like,
I completely just like skimmed over that. I was done with that
yeah,
issue.
it was very. And then I wrote, "You have some nerve referencing Sonic Genesis in this." Because Sonic goes like, "This is all disturbingly familiar," and they go, "See Sonic Genesis graphic novel." Or don't, because you'll be horribly confused by the fact that Sonic and Sally are in love in that, and for some reason are not here. But whatever. And so then they bring Bunny back to the base. They traumatize her. It is a nice sequence, I will say, where the art leaves something to be desired, but like where she gets her memories back and she looks at her like robot hand. Again, it's
that's the only one where it felt like we actually gave a little bit of time to it, but the problem is that the art is so memeable, like especially the one where it's like her lifting her hand up to Antoine above her, and I'm like, this looks like something that people would post, and it would be from like the before Flynn pre-boot era with like the cringy artists.
Yep, you're not wrong. I wrote, you had the perfect excuse for Sonic and Sally not getting back together, saying you only had enough energy for one, and you didn't take it because there's a scene here at the end, if you remember, where she goes, "I might only have enough energy for either Amy or Sally," and so why didn't you and I wonder if that's the thing, like, because obviously if you're writing an ongoing story, you write stuff in essentially to give yourself an excuse later. So I do wonder if Flynn was going with that, where it's like, it's going to be really weird if I give Sally her memories back and then we just never talk about the fact that her and Sonic were a couple. So maybe I'll just put this here and maybe I'll use that later. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But so, and then my second to last note was just, God, Sonic looks weird. It's like, there's a scene where he's like standing all triumphantly and like his head is too small. And his quills look, it's I don't know. And again, like, I don't want to, like, I couldn't do better. Like, but, and then, we see, aboard the Death Egg, Eggman's like, "Oh, I see Sally's escaped with the escape pod." And then he's like, "Go kill her." And then it goes, "Sally's on the run, but will she survive long enough to be reunited with Sonic?" And I just wrote as my last note, "Don't you dare." Like
she crashed along the way and died.
Well, no, it was more so like, I you could possibly mean like reunited with Sonic and like them meeting each other again, but like the way it's phrased very much seems like reunited, like, because they love each other, but like they don't anymore.
Like when they see each other, they're gonna smash into each other and make out on the spot. That's what we can't wait for the reunion.
I mean,
sorry, Sonic fans, not allowed.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but like, anyway, and then we have another.
The comic wouldn't go that far.
I mean, it would, but and then we have another unfunny off panel and things. We move on to our final issue of the first arc of the rebooted Sonic the Hedgehog Archie continuity. It's awesome. It's epic. It's intense. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. Countdown to Chaos. The conclusion. Okay.
What a conclusion.
What a kind of conclusion. So we see Amy and Cream coming back from their Sonic Universe arc, which, hey audience, if you enjoyed this episode, guess what we're covering next episode?
Pirates.
Yes. So
of the Marine.
we can shamelessly plug that at the end though. So I go, so they show up and they're talking, and then Sally crashes down in an escape pod, and she goes, "Metal Sonic's right on my tail," and I just wrote, "It's funny because she literally has a tail."
Literal.
Yeah, and then we see Sally's arm blades. Those are cool. I like those. Those are a neat addition. And then I wrote, the hooligans are great in any continuity because they're
fun. Yeah, they're always fun.
So they're fighting. Cream gets not Cream. Cheese gets backhanded to Metal Sonic.
By the way, you do know where the blades come from as far as like why she has them in this continuity, right?
I think they're like a holdover from her Mecha Sally thing, right? Didn't she have them as Mecha Sally?
Yeah. Yep. So I thought that's a neat idea.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It gives her more to do in terms of like combat. And if they ever want to put Sally in the games, maybe it could be a cool thing they did. I don't know.
True.
It'll never happen, but we can hope. So I kind of noted that like this is kind of like Team Rose 2.0. I don't really mind it because like you swap out Big for Sally. I don't know. They did that in the old continuity where they swapped out Big for Blaze, and I thought that worked pretty well. But so.
Oh yeah, no, that's fun.
And then I wrote, so we see like the Royal Guard or whoever, they run up, and in the span of one panel, a single panel, literally the 2 lines these characters have are, "Get back, Your Highness, we'll handle this," and then, "We failed you."
Amazing.
I wrote in my notes, "These dumb fucks failed in record time." Oh, it's great. But
it's one of those things. Well, it's one of those things where, like, sorry, I was muted for a sec, or else I would have been laughing because I also thought it was hilarious that they just got mowed down. It's one of those things where it's like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, well, why did you write that in? Why would you do that to them, Flynn? They didn't deserve that.
They're like, Flynn, it needs to be 23 pages. You've only written 22. It's like, okay, I guess these guys are here.
He's like, well, yeah, I guess. But yeah, that was funny.
By the way, audience, I know that's not how writing comics work. Don't comment about it. Or do. Engagement is helpful for the channel. So do comment about it. Dummy. Anyway, so Sonic shows up. Him and Metal Sonic go off and fight, and then he wins. Oh, and I wrote, one of my notes was like, oh, thank goodness he can talk. Because obviously they've made that thing now where he's like, he has to be Neo Metal Sonic to be able to talk.
Yeah, that was interesting because I had remembered him not talking, so I was like, oh, okay.
Maybe later on, like Sega came down in like their Dracula cloak and was like, Flynn, we told you we couldn't talk. Oh my god!
Okay, Dad.
Also, we literally see one of these people getting like carried away on a stretcher.
Jeez, they poor guys.
But so
Flynn didn't have to do that to them. That's just mean.
But he did.
He chose to hurt them.
You know what? Would we be getting such joy out of this though if he didn't?
No, it's the only time I felt joy reading this whole little story. So that was, maybe it's important we get these moments.
Yeah, but so Sonic runs up to Sally. He's overjoyed. She's not a robot anymore. He's crying. This is the last time we'll see him cry. Or maybe not. I don't know. That's what you said.
Well, it's just like one panel to show like, whoa, he like cares about him, bro. And it's like, oh, I'm glad he cares about. Yeah, sorry about her. He cares about Sally, bro. They're bros.
They're bros.
Anyway.
Well, that's what's weird, right? Is because the way he greets her is like pretty much completely in character for like older Archie Sonic, like when pre-boot. But then obviously Sally's like, whoa, we're not dating. What's the deal here?
Whoa there, Tiger. Oh, I'm dating my computer.
I'm dating my computer. I don't know what the deal is there, but so, and then Amy's all jealous, and then we find out about the pirate story, and then we bring Sally to her dad. So at Sky Patrol, we have all the Freedom Fighters together. I just realized we have Oma Chow, Cheese, and Teapup all hanging out. That's fun. That's cute. And then they're like, okay, Sally and Amy, I can give you your memories back, but it's gonna be really awful. Like, are you like? And they're like, just sure, okay, whatever. Like, we need to do it to save the world is a plot device we've come up with, so might as well do it. And again, it's like you could have just had Amy do it. Like, okay, here's the thing, right? Because I'm sure some people will be like, why are you weirdly fixating on this? Is because, and one thing I was like with Antoine and Bunny, it was like if they weren't married in this continuity and then got together based on their old memories, that'd be really weird based on what we see with Sonic and Sally. But it's not. That's not the case, and so it's a little more defensible to be like, well, yeah, they were dating in the old continuity, but now they're essentially different people, and so just because they have these memories doesn't necessarily mean they're going to instantly fall back in love with each other. Like, you know, this version of Sally apparently likes girls, so you know, there's that small factor. The problem with that is I feel like Ian, right? Let's say you had a friend and you found out in like some past timeline, you two were like deeply in love with each other. It doesn't mean you immediately have to like get back together and start dating, but I feel like you'd at the very least like have a conversation about it.
Yeah, it might come up. I might mention it. I might mention it at like a get together. You know.
Like, and also it's even weird the fact that like all of their friends presumably also remember that. And so you think any of them would mention it's just it's a weird thing that you just have to get over for this, and it's whatever, you know. So anyway, he gives them the thing. We see their memories, and what again? This is one of Amy's apparently like defining. Amy's two defining memories are getting kidnapped by Metal Sonic and beating up Knack. So, although you know what, I guess
which is kind of funny. That the second one is just her beating up Knack. That was such a defining moment in her life.
Well, you could make the argument it's meant to show like her progression, like how she started as like a helpless damsel in distress. Now she ended as like a badass who could like fight people.
Yeah, but I would have just shown her fighting Metal Sally.
That would have been interesting, but I think because sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say then you'd still have at least like a bit of the tragedy aspect, but then you could also show the progression of like, yeah, she's become like a warrior, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, but this one's funnier, so I'm glad they did this one. But
yeah.
But so then Sally's upset. Bunny goes to comfort her. Sonic's kind of like Sonic's face. I feel like here when he's holding up Amy could totally be a meme. Like he just and then so they're distraught, and then Nicole starts freaking out. And she's like, "Oh no, the entire multiverse collapsed on itself." And I just wrote, "The multiverse collapsed in on itself. Way to do your job, Sonic."
Everyone's dead.
Oh, and also, I assume this note was from the page where he meets back up with Sally. I went, "You're not going to convince me this world is better. Stop trying."
Oh yeah.
But so, Eggman is in his thing. He's also talking to Orbot and Cubot. He's like, I wrote, the note I wrote was, I'm not even going to pretend any of this makes sense. But now that I'm a little less butthurt, I think I can appreciate that. It's like, it does technically make sense. Where it's like, you know, he applied enough energy onto Mobius just to rewrite it during Genesis, whereas here he went literally to an alternate parallel dimension he was tampering with. So now all that, but I guess the question that then I have is, why is the energy still focused on Mobius? I guess maybe just because that's where it's the source
Sonic's
from.
world. Excuse you.
So Ian, don't you start with me.
If you want to be a real reboot boy, you got to go by the correct lingo.
Real reboot.
He's not Ixis Nagus anymore. You better call him by his real name, Walter Nagy. King Max is a good boy now. So don't you dare start with this, "Oh, it's Mobius. I want my own wolf back." No, it's Sonic's world because it's his world where one is all. So okay. Making sure that you had that clear.
Okay, so on Sonic's world, the energy is all, but like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it is probably just because that's where the Genesis wave originated from. So now it's all coming back in on there.
Yeah, it's all just magic nonsense. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, magic nonsense is a par for the course with Sonic.
I guess.
It's how half the stuff happens in the game.
Again, this arc very much seems like, you know, this is where we just got to get through this, and then we can get to our Unleashed arc, and then we can start actually like having fun. Like,
Yeah, it's very much feels like what you just said, where it's like we got to get through it. Got to eat our vegetables.
Yeah, and then so we get this thing where it's this cool like split panel thing of them being like of them talking to Nicole and them talking to Eggman being like, we can't stop it, it's too late, and then the world blows open.
Yeah, I
Which
thought that was a good build up. I thought there was good tension there, where it's
I
like you have like Eggman's room and it's like all dark and red, and then you cut back to the heroes and they're like talking, and then Cubot and them were talking, and you got everybody kind of like finishing each other's sentences and stuff like that, and then you get the nice spread at the end where it really does look like, oh no, we're
yeah.
screwed.
I really like the page where it's like, stop it, fix it, it's too late. Like, I don't know, I thought that was cool. And then, what's funny? We as Sonic fans obviously are like, oh yeah, this is Unleashed. Like, but to anyone else, it literally looks like the world just explodes.
Yeah, well, because they actually like show like all the lava spewing out, and it looks bad.
I will say that lava is like very high up based on, like, it doesn't look. I don't know. I'm not going to question the science in it. And then I remember my last note was, these are some of the least funny off panels I've ever seen. And I don't even remember the one from this issue. So, yeah, it's the chili dog one. Okay, yeah. Okay. And that is the end of Countdown to Chaos. So
yeah, it felt very whatever, despite the fact that it really should have had at least a few really emotional moments, which I think is the biggest disappointment for it. Is it's just gotta go. Okay, we're done.
Well, and I will
Like,
say,
oh, well, thanks.
if I can give Flynn any credit, I think, well, first of all, he worked with what he had. You gotta respect him for that at least. And you even said like the whole. I mean, how much of our criticism was just, isn't it weird that they have their past memories, but they're not acting how they logically would act if they had past memories? And like even you said, like, well, that was the thing he didn't originally want to do. But one thing I will say is that, like,
stuff out of his control. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but also, like, presumably he was like trying to put together like his map for this new world while also working on Worlds Collide. Maybe even while he was wrapping up the old continuity. And so, like, for what, like, again, like, I didn't hate this first arc. I just think it's very whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, not much more to say, I guess.
I'd give it like probably give it like a 4. It's below average.
Yeah, it is below average. I'd give it a "you tried" sticker.
Yeah, it's probably like a 4, because a 3 is like, for on my scale, it's like a 4 is something where it's like, it's just below average. Like, it's just like, no, sorry, it's not very good. And then like a 3 is like, man, but you disappointed me, son. Like, we were doing stuff, and then you messed it up. And then like a 2 is just like awful, and then like a 1 is like, you personally offended me.
What is you personally? Well, that first off panel is a 1, but
all right, fair.
So the I don't know. I'm bad with number scores. I think it's fine. It's passable. Like, it's not an offensive. I don't know. It exists. Like, I'm sure. I mean, yep. Ian, I'm sure you can attest to the fact that, like, it gets better.
It gets more fun.
I think our conversation when we were talking about this, when we decided to do this podcast, literally something to the effect of, like, you said that this series was like a consistent 7 that sometimes gets 8s.
Yeah, basically. Okay. And then IDW is a 5 that constantly hits 5 out of 10 highs.
Sad but true.
Just the most average Sonic thing ever.
So, well, with that being said, I don't think I have anything more to say. I feel like we pretty thoroughly covered this first arc.
Oh, yeah. Nope, I don't have anything else as well. I gave my final thoughts on it.
Yeah, again, it's fine. But you know what would be better than fine? If you could like this podcast, comment, and share it with your friends. That was the worst thing ever. But no, I mean, seriously, if you could share this around, if you enjoyed it, greatly appreciate that. I don't know, maybe I'll look into getting this put on like iTunes or whatever. Is there a process for that? Like,
I'm sure there's some sort of process that you can look into, but I doubt it's that complicated.
yeah. Because I mean, I'm sure podcasts do better on like podcast apps than on YouTube, but we shall see.
Hopefully next time there'll be something more exciting to talk about, because most of this was just like, so then this happens, and it was dull. Anyway, goodbye.
Yeah.
So
well,
hopefully
I feel
next time we'll have more to sink our teeth into.
like,
But yeah, man, no, this was a really good time, and I look forward to hopefully doing more of these sometime soon.
Yes, I'm not going to promise you, audience, when these next ones are out. They will be out at some point. So just so you know what would be a good way to know when they're out would be to subscribe to this channel.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so Ian, you want to plug your stuff before we go?
Yep, my channel is Ian Waffles. I make anime analysis content, more or less. I've been doing some videos on Kingdom Hearts lately. I'll have a second one up, hopefully relatively soon this year. And yeah, that's pretty much all I do. I don't really post too often, so, don't subscribe if you don't feel like it. I'm not your dad. So, just do whatever you want. Have a nice day. And thank you for having me, Mr. The Silver Ace.
Is that your new thing? That's the second time you've been on here and said, or don't subscribe to me, I'm not your dad.
It's just a catchphrase my friend says, and I think it's really funny. So I stole it, because he's not going to do anything on the internet.
Well, fair enough. I mean, you're on my channel, but on the off chance, or not the off chance, I mean, it's maybe likely that you're first discovering this channel based on this podcast. First of all, hi. But second of all, I mean, I do stuff sometimes, but also not really. I'm very busy, so sometimes I don't do things. But I do things sometimes. I'm working on an analysis
reviews
video right now, so that'll be fun. You've got an actual like big boy project coming, so people can look forward to that. But overall, you can follow me at SilverAce01 on Twitter. You can follow Ian at Ian Waffles on Twitter, and we will see you guys next time for Pirate Plunder Panic.
Sure.
For that one, maybe. Sure.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
See ya.
See ya.